The Vietnam War started in November of 1955 and ended in 1975, but the U.S. involvement didn't start until 1965 and 1968. The war started out between North and South Vietnam. It started out because North wanted to be a communist country. In 1955, the South fought the North hoping to stop the spread of communism. This did not work. In 1965, the U.S. sent troops because the North attacked a U.S. destroyer, which is an act of war. What was your job at White Sands?
At White Sands, I was responsible for a missile system called Red Eye, and we deployed and trained Red Eye for the U.S. Army and several allied armies around the world.
Red Eye is an anti-aircraft missile that can destroy low-flying aircrafts into nothing. It can intercept planes that are going 400 knots. The Red Eye missile only weighs 23 pounds, so it can be handled by one man. It has an infrared nose that can pick up heat waves from the back of the plane so the missile can track the plane. It has a range of 9,000 feet. What was your most memorable moment there?
Shooting down a live aircraft without a pilot in it.
Can you give us more in depth about that?
Yeah, we had a drone F-100 that we shot down out of the sky with a shoulder-fired heat-seeking missile. And the drone flew past us, and in about 12 seconds, it was in the desert.
She's my sweet baby, yeah. Well, I ain't superstitious and I don't get suspicious, but my woman is a friend of mine. And I know that it's true, all the things that I do will come back to me in my sweet time. So keep on rocking me, baby. Keep on rocking me, baby. Keep on rocking me, baby.
Did it impact your life from where it is now?
Absolutely. I left White Sands. I could have gone to Korea as a captain in the U.S. Army. Instead, I went to work for General Dynamics in Pomona, California, and they're the developer of the Red Eye missile system.
General Dynamics is a company that is an American aerospace and defense multinational corporation. In 1959, General Dynamics began the design of the Red Eye missile. The missile debuted in 1968 and saw service up to 1995. General Dynamics also handled the production of Red Eye missile. The Red Eye missile system was the standard American anti-aircraft man-portable defense system. From 1968 to 1995, General Dynamics still does production for the U.S. Army.
Specific jobs in the air defense missile system?
Yeah, I had a couple. I started out in what's called medium altitude missiles, which is the Hawk missile system, and I trained on that initially. And then I went to OCS and became an officer, and I ended back up at White Sands in a thing called Red Eye, the Red Eye missile system, which is an anti-aircraft missile, and stayed in that for the rest of the time I was in the Army.
Mr. Peterson started out in the medium altitude Hawk air defense system, then became an officer but ended up back at White Sands under the Red Eye missile system. Hawk was originally intended to attack aircraft at the medium and low altitudes. It underwent a major improvement program which replaced all of the radar systems with new models and a home on jam feature. Red Eye was a man-portable surface-to-air missile system. It used infrared homing to track its targets and was later replaced by the Stinger.
How many different missiles were created whilst you were there?
There were 3 existing missile systems. We had Nike Ajax, which is a long-range air defense system. We had the Hawk system, which is medium-altitude air defense. And then Red Eye was being deployed, which is low-altitude man-portable air defense. And then while I was there, I was responsible for developing the Stinger missile system, which is an advanced Red Eye, which is currently deployed today with the U.S. Army and a couple of NATO forces.
There were 3 existing missile systems in the United States military: the Nike Ajax, which was a long-range air defense system, the Hawk, which was a medium-range air defense system, and the Red Eye, which was a low-altitude man-portable air defense system. Mr. Peterson was responsible for developing the Stinger air defense system. The Stinger is a man-portable air defense system that operates as an infrared homing surface-to-air missile. It can be adapted to fire from a wide variety of ground vehicles and aircrafts.
Did the U.S. have the strongest air defense missile system at the time?
No, the Russians had pretty good capability in medium and long range air defense. At the time, we had the best close in air defense because we developed Red Eye and then Stinger long before the Russians had a shoulder fired weapon. That's changed. The Russians now have that capability.
No, the Russians had very good medium and long-range air defense missile systems. At the time, we had the best close-in air defense system because we developed Red Eye and then Stinger way before the Russians had a shoulder-fire weapon, but this has changed because the Russians had the capability of making their close-in air defense systems better.
How many missiles did you launch?
I probably launched myself personally a dozen, but over a period of 2 years, we probably fired 1,000 missiles at various targets, and most all of the, I'm going to say 99.9% of those missiles hit the target. Red Eye was a very accurate system, and then we test fired a bunch of Stinger missiles, which was sort of towards the end of everything.
Mr. Peterson launched about a dozen missiles himself, but at the White Sands Missile Range, they launched about 1,000 missiles, and 99.9% of the missiles were on target because Red Eye was very accurate.
Did you have to take any classes about missiles before entering the war?
Yeah, I had, as you go in the Army, you take basic training, which just teaches you how to pay attention to things and not get shot. And then you go to what's called AIT, Advanced Individual Training. And in my case, it was missile systems, and I was trained on a thing called the Hawk missile system. And Hawk is a medium altitude air defense system, very capable. It's still, a version of Hawk is still deployed today.
Mr. Peterson had to take classes to enter the military, and at first is basic combat training, which teaches you how to pay attention to things. After basic training, you go on to Advanced Individual Training, AIT, which is where you learn the skills to perform your specific job. In this case, launching a missile, and learning about the Hawk missile system, which is a low to medium altitude ground-to-air missile system made and designed by the American defense company Raytheon. The Hawk missile system is still used today.
Were you afraid of death, or were you confident in yourself?
I don't think I even thought about it. I think when you enter the military, you've got a job to do. You've got a lot of pals. They're going to watch your back. I think the only thing I was really worried about was the drill instructors at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, when we were going through OCS, and we had two of our classmates out of 248 kids, two kids died. And they died, they were just, one actually I think was killed because he was an idiot, and the other was just a training accident.
Mr. Bill Peterson enlisted in the Vietnam War for 3 years, from 1966 to 1969. Mr. Bill Peterson's task in the Vietnam War was launching missiles in the White Sands Missile Range. In the White Sands Missile Range, there were about a few thousand people, and everyone were friends, and everyone had each other's backs. So therefore, Mr. Peterson had nothing to be afraid of.
Did you manage, build, or sell your product?
I didn't sell it. We managed the development. We managed the training and deployment of the Red Eye missile system. We developed in parallel to that a thing called the Stinger missile system, which is in the field today. And we engineered it. We developed it. I didn't sell it. In fact, you can't sell them. The U.S. Army is the only purchaser of that, and it's all very controlled, because in the hands of terrorists or Al-Qaeda, it would be a really dangerous weapon to have out on the street.
The Red Eye missile system was a manned-portable surface-to-air missile system. It used infrared homing to track its target. Production began in 1968 and ended in September 1969, after about 85,000 rounds had been built, in anticipation of Red Eye 2, which later became the FIM-92 Stinger. The Red Eye was withdrawn gradually between 1982 and 1985 as the Stinger was developed.